My mother-in-law told me to move out of the house I was paying $6,600 a month to maintain. She wanted to give it to our other daughter. My husband said nothing. So I called movers that same morning and took everything I ever paid for. When they saw the empty rooms, they panicked, but it was already too late. They had no idea how expensive my absence was about to become. The night she told me to leave, I was still paying for the walls. She stood inside. The ceiling fan hummed like it always did, calm and blind to what was about to break. She smiled when she said it, like eviction was a favor, like I was the obstacle, like none of this was mine. My name is Alyssa Carter, and I married her son thinking love would be enough to build a life. I was wrong. I am 32, childless by choice for now, and apparently that made me disposable. My mother-in-law, Mary Ann, sat at the head of the dining table that I paid for every month and folded her hands like a judge delivering mercy. "You will need to move out," she said gently. "My oldest daughter and her husband are ready to start a family. They need the space." I waited for my husband to say something. He didn't. What Mary Ann didn't know, what none of them knew, was that I was paying $6,600 every single month in household expenses. Mortgage contributions, utilities, renovations she bragged about to her friends. The soft beige couch she loved so much. I paid quietly, because I believe marriage meant partnership, not scorekeeping. She leaned closer. "You understand, don't you? It's temporary. You can figure something out." Ah, temporary. Like my place in this family had always been. I nodded. I even smiled back. I told her I would start looking for somewhere else. Inside, something detached, cleanly, efficiently, like a switch flipping off. I went upstairs that night, folded laundry with steady hands, and listened to my husband breathe beside me, like nothing had changed. The next morning, I made coffee, kissed him on the cheek, and waited until the front door closed behind him. Then I picked up my phone. "Hi," I said calmly when they answered. "I need movers today. Full packing service." As I hung up, I looked around the house at everything I had paid for, defended, swallowed my pride for, and realized this was not me being pushed out. This was me choosing exactly how to leave. And they had no idea what I was about to take with me. By noon, the house sounded different. Drawers opening, tape ripping, cardboard scraping against hardwood floors. I had paid to refinish last winter. The movers moved fast, professional, quiet, efficient, the way I had learned to be. As they packed, my mind replayed how this started. When my husband Ethan lost his job 2 years ago, I didn't panic. I stepped up. I told myself marriage is bend, not break. I covered expenses for a while, then a little longer, then everything. Mary Ann framed it as family helping family. Her daughter Lauren would visit and joke, "Must be nice having a rich sister-in-law." I laughed back. I always did. The truth was uglier. My income wasn't flashy. It was steady. Consulting contracts, quiet money. I never announced it. Even's pride couldn't handle that. So we agreed the bills would come from our account, even though the transfers came from mine. Over time, I stopped being a life and became infrastructure. Useful, invisible. What hurt wasn't being asked to leave. It was how easily they decided I was the expendable one. Like my absence would solve everything. Like I was clutter. At 3:17 p.m., my phone buzzed. "Mary Ann, we will talk tonight about timelines," she texted. "No need to rush." I looked at the movers carrying out the couch she loved so much and typed back only one word. "Okay." She still thought this was on her schedule. That illusion was about to collapse. Ethan came home early. I was sealing the last box in the bedroom when I heard his footsteps stop cold in the hallway. A silence stretched thick and confused. Then, "Alyssa, what is this?" I didn't turn around. "I am moving out." He laughed once, sharp and disbelieving. "You are being dramatic. Mom said you had time." There it was. Mom said, not "we will talk," not "are you okay?" Just instructions passed down like policy. I faced him then, really looked at his eyes. No panic, no urgency, just irritation. Like I had rearranged his routine without permission. You didn't defend me, I said calmly. Not once. He rubbed his face. Lauren needs the space. You don't even want kids right now. So I don't qualify for a home, I asked. That's not what I meant. But it was exactly what he meant. He followed me downstairs, watching strangers wrap our life in brown paper. When the movers lifted the dining table, his voice dropped. Wait, why are they taking that? I paused, finally letting something crack through. Because I bought it, like most things here. He stared at me. What do you mean most? I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app, and held it between us. Not angry, not shaking, just factual. His face drained, slowly, piece by piece. You paid for all this? I smiled faintly. You never asked. Upstairs, I heard Marianne's car pull into the driveway, and for the first time, I didn't feel nervous. I felt ready. Marianne walked in smiling. She stopped when she saw the empty living room. Walls bare, echoes where her voice usually filled space. Her smile twitched, recalibrating. What is going on? Ethan opened his mouth, closed it, looked at me. I stepped forward before either of them could recover. I am moving out today. Her eyes narrowed. That is unnecessary. We said you had time. We, I asked softly. Funny, I don't remember agreeing. She scoffed. Don't be childish. You are upset. We will talk after dinner. Then she saw the movers carrying out the couch. Her couch. Stop them, she snapped. One of the movers looked at me. I nodded. They kept going. Marianne turned on me, voice shot now. You cannot just take things that belong to this house. I pulled the folder from my bag. Neat, tabbed, prepared, receipts, transfers, dates, every quiet payment I had made over 2 years. They belong to me, I said.
Oh, yes. The cast came from the table to the knee. I couldn't get too much for it. So why belong to me?
Legally. Her face went pale. Ethan. He didn't answer. He couldn't. Lauren arrived minutes later, saw the empty space, and laughed nervously. Is this a joke? I met her eyes. No. You're getting the house. She blinked. Then why is it empty? That is when it finally landed. The house wasn't being handed over. It was being stripped down to the truth. And the truth had my name on it. That night, I slept better than I had in years. Not because it didn't hurt, but because the pain had finally stopped circling. It had direction now. I checked into a quiet hotel across town, ordered room service I'd barely touched, and laid out everything on the bed like a chessboard. Documents, passwords, contracts, the invisible skeleton of that household. By morning, my emotions had cooled into something sharper. Focused. I called my accountant first, then my lawyer. Calm conversations, no dramatics, just clarity. I learned exactly how much I had contributed. Numbers, so clean, they almost felt unreal when spoken aloud. Then I did what I had never done before. I stopped paying. Utilities, subscriptions, the shared account Ethan barely checked. All paused, all documented. By noon, Ethan was calling, then texting, then calling again. We need to talk. Mom is upset. This is getting out of hand. I didn't respond. Instead, I forwarded one email to Marianne's email address. A polite professional notice explaining that effective immediately, I would no longer be funding household expenses for a residence I was asked to vacate. No insults, no threats, just consequences. I closed my laptop, took a slow breath, and smiled for the first time without forcing it. They thought removing me would create space. They had no idea how expensive my absence was about to become. By the third day, the house started unraveling. The electricity went first. An unpaid balance Marianne didn't know existed because she had never had to. Then the internet. Then the auto payments on services she used daily. Security monitoring, streaming accounts. Even the gardener she loved to brag about to her friends. Ethan showed up at my hotel unannounced. He looked smaller somehow. Wrinkled shirt, dark circles. Panic leaking through the cracks of his anger. "You are humiliating us," he hissed in the lobby. "My sister is crying. Mom doesn't understand what is happening." I kept my voice low. "I was told to leave. I did. You are punishing everyone." "No," I said. "I am just not supporting people who decided I didn't belong." He reached for my arm. I stepped back. That was when I slid one more envelope across the table. My lawyer's letter. Itemized contributions. Proof. A formal request for reimbursement or asset liquidation if they wanted to avoid court. His hands shook as he opened it. "You planned this?" he whispered. I stood up calm and composed. "No, you forced it." As I walked away, my phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't Ethan. It was Marianne. And her message was no longer polite. Marianne's voicemail came through long before I listened to it. I could tell by the missed calls, 7 in under an hour, that her control had finally slipped. When I pressed play, her voice was tight and brittle. "Alyssa, this has gone far enough. You are tearing this family apart." I almost laughed. By evening, the truth had fully surfaced. Lauren and her husband couldn't afford the house without my contributions. A mortgage was behind. The utilities were past due. The temporary plan collapsed under real numbers. Ethan showed up again, this time without anger, just desperation. "Mom says if you come back," he said quietly, "we can talk about adjustments." Adjustments. I looked at the man I had loved, the one who let me be erased for convenience, and felt nothing but distance. "You already talked," I replied. "You just didn't realize I was listening." Behind him, Marianne stood in the driveway watching, smaller now. No authority left in her posture. She finally understood what she had done. She didn't remove a nuisance. She dismantled the foundation. And there was nothing left to threaten me with anymore. The final twist came quietly. A week later, my lawyer called. Not with drama, but with satisfaction. During the review of my transfers, something surfaced that Marianne hadn't expected. Several renovations and payments had been made in my name for tax efficiency. At the time, she had waved it off. "Paperwork doesn't matter," she had said. It mattered legally. A portion of that house wasn't just funded by me, it was partially mine. When the notice arrived, Marianne didn't scream. She didn't threaten. She went silent. The kind of silence that comes when power finally understands it is gone. Ethan sent one last message. "I didn't know it would end like this." I typed back, "The truth. Neither did I." "You chose not to know. I didn't take the house. I didn't need to. They sold it to cover debts, quietly, without announcements or smiles." Lauren moved somewhere smaller. Marianne stopped hosting. The family story rewrote itself without my name in it. And me. I signed a lease on a place filled only with things I chose. I paid my expenses gladly because they were mine. No gratitude required. No permission needed. I wasn't pushed out. I was released. And the life I built after that didn't echo. It was solid. It was mine. And no one could ever take it from me again.